Hi everyone, I'm Ray from Crystal Candy, and I have been asked so often what is the difference between rice paper wraps, between edible wafer paper, between icing sheets and edible fabric. So today's video is all about teaching you just the differences between these four products which are so well used in the cake decorating industry. Let's start off with an edible icing sheet. So this is made out of icing. It needs to be protected, so it's always in a plastic bag until you use it. And then once you know this is your graphics, you're going to cut the size of the sheet to be the exact right size for your cake. So here I've got a printed one. We printed a leopard with all this beautiful artwork, and it's the right size to go around my cake, and I'm just going to apply this to the cake. So the easiest way of doing this is to take your cake, brush it with a touch of water, because that's all it needs. It needs a little bit of moisture. You can use it on a fondant cake, you can use it on a buttercream cake, or even a chocolate ganache cake. It really doesn't matter, but the only thing that does matter is the fact that it sticks to any surface with a touch of water. So I'm taking my graphics and I'm applying my sheet and I'm smoothing it down. I've taken all the air bubbles away, and here it is, perfectly smooth, and I'm ready to start decorating my cake. Wafer paper. So it's made from a potato starch. It has a smooth side and it has a rough side. It can also be printed in an inkjet printer, and here I've done one just to show you the complexity of the colors and everything. It's all perfect for an inkjet printer. So wafer paper is hugely popular because you can do so many things with it. Here we have printed out butterflies, we have printed out flowers. This is a pack of pansies. You can print on either side, it really doesn't matter, and let's join two of these together. Here's a pansy, and we'll put it on the backing and you'll get the most beautiful pansy. So how we do it is just with a touch of water. Just a touch of water and stick the top on. Wafer paper is basically slightly smaller than an A4 size. As I said, it's got a smooth side, a rough side. Either side can be used, and you can tear it for frills. So as far as coloring the wafer paper is concerned, yes, you just need edible colors. You need a paintbrush with a little bit of water on. You can paint your icing, your wafer paper. But guys, if you want to learn more about wafer paper, you really need to watch perhaps another video or come to a class, just so that we can show you all the ins and outs of using it in so many different ways. I did do with wafer paper that was printed, that was conditioned, and which gives you the most amazing frills. You don't need a cutter for it, it's all just torn wafer paper. So it's endless as to what you can do with it. The next one I'm going to show you is the edible fabric. So it's got a satin backing. We've printed on the front, and it's quite amazing what can be done, but everybody gets confused and they think that this is what has got to go around the cake, whereas it's not, guys. It's the edible icing sheet that needs to go around the cake, and this fabric, which can be folded, it can be manipulated. This is just to be used for bows and embellishments. So if I was going to make a bow from this, I'd fold one side in, I'd fold another side in. You can do your seams because it sticks with CMC water, your confectioner's glue, and then you just gather the center. And here is a bow. It's quite light, it's still flexible, and you can use it to put it on and embellish any cake. So it's got its own place in the cake decorating industry. It's not the be all and end all of everything, but it's certainly got its place because of its flexibility, which will stay for as long as you need to use it. Okay, the last product that I just want to show you because of the confusion is the rice paper wraps. Now these are all imported. I think most of our rice paper wraps come from Vietnam. They're quite sturdy and they also need to be worked on in order to use them on a cake. Here I've done a flower, and you can see the difference between a rice paper wrap and, for example, a butterfly. The rice paper wrap is amazing because it comes out opaque. You can see through it, and you can make the most awesome sails or flowers or whatever with it. You can also include a wire with it, but the wafer paper is far more opaque, and that's how you actually tell the difference between the rice paper wrap and the wafer paper. So let's go on. What do we do with this? So I've got a bowl of water here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rice paper wrap into the water. Now, if you were working with wafer paper, there's no ways you could do this because it would just melt or disintegrate, and there's no ways you would be able to do this. So you need to understand what you're buying, whether it is a rice paper wrap or whether it's wafer paper, because the applications are so different. So warm water will be quicker than the cold water, which I have here, but basically what it's doing is it's absorbing the water, and then it's going to be very flexible, and I'm going to be able to bend it in whatever shape I want. So this soaking it in water is about a 2-minute process, and of course the added benefit is if I had blue water or green water, it would color my rice paper wrap at the same time. So I don't want it to be too wet or too squishy because then it's a little bit difficult to handle. So what I'll do now is I'll cut it in the shape I want. Okay, it's very flexible now, but it's still easily manageable. So I'll cut it just in whatever shape I want. There you go. I'm just going to use this little piece. The rest I'll take away. I'm going to take a little bit of color, just a touch. Wet it, and then paint my rice paper wrap. So you just need a little bit just to give it a sort of a watery effect. You can do it in many different colors and many different designs. Okay, and now I'm going to take it and I'm going to take a silicone mold. I'm going to put it down. I could put something underneath it just to give it a little bit of movement, and I will take my wrap and I will wrap it and gather it. And you can really make whatever interesting aspects you like, and I'll just leave it to dry. Now, as far as the drying of this is concerned, it depends obviously on the conditions of your weather, but leave it overnight, it'll dry, or put it into a hydrator, it'll dry quicker, or of course you can leave it in the sun, and what happens is it dries hard. Okay, so it loses its flexibility, but it retains the shape that you have bent it into. So that is what you would get, and this is perfect to put on the side of a cake or to put a wire in it and make a flower from it, like the one that we've done here. The very basics of the few products that we've brought onto the table today. The rice paper wraps, they're always round, they are sturdy, they need to be soaked in water or at least steamed, they can be painted, they can't be put through an inkjet printer. So all your artwork on this needs to be done by you, and you can create the most awesome translucent sails. And as I say, you can color them exactly as you like, and they take between half an hour and overnight to dry. The second product that we went through is the icing sheets. They normally come in A4s and kept always in plastic so that they don't dry out. They are perfect to put through an inkjet printer for your designs. And all you need is a background that has got a touch of moisture or painted with water or steamed, and then you can apply this onto your cake. So this is basically a cake wrap. The third one is your wafer paper. So your wafer paper is also almost an A4 size, just slightly smaller. It can be printed. All the butterflies that we do are done with wafer paper. Yes, they do need conditioning, but that we'll explain to you in a future video. They can be torn, they can be cut out, and they offer an extensive opportunity for flowers, for frills, for butterflies, for anything decorative on the side of your cakes. And the last one is the edible fabric. Guys, please don't use this around your cake. I'd hate to cut a cake with this on. It's got some gelatine in it. It's always flexible, and it's not for a cake collar. It's rather for your embellishments in making bows and folding and gathering, and also for swashes and whatever. So these 4 products, I really hope that you have learnt and now get it as far as the individual uses are concerned. Thanks guys, and we'll be back soon.